morning, Caribbean. July 5th was the last day of the 43rd CARICOM Conference of Heads of Government. Meetings have been wrapped up and the leaders have deliberated as the Caribbean community anticipates further implementation and action. The day began with a tree planting ceremony by the Heads of Government in celebration of CARICOM Day, which was hosted by the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Husbandry and Fisheries of the Republic of Suriname at the Botanical Garden. This activity was followed by plenary sessions, caucuses, and social meetings. The evening ended with a dinner hosted by the incoming CARICOM Chair and President of Suriname, His Excellency Chandrika Prasad Santokhi. Prior to the dinner, a press conference was hosted, reflecting on what was discussed or decided during the business sessions. During the question round, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, delved into the matter of the existing regional energy policies and the matter of urgency, which revolves around the manipulation of oil. He further mentioned Petrocaribe, an oil alliance that benefited many Caribbean countries, but was put on pause due to U.S. sanctions.
Already existing in CARICOM is a regional energy policy. There's a CARICOM energy policy, there's sub-regional energy policies, like for instance the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, and each country has a national energy policy. And the energy policy addresses the pre-existing, before we arrived here in Suriname, focused on renewable energy and also on energy efficiency. There are lots of initiatives and coordinated policies dealing with energy, renewable energy in relation to hydro, solar, wind, geothermal, energy efficiency matters concerning LEDs, particular types of equipment, and so on and so forth. And those are matters of record. What has made the issue of real urgency is the manipulation of the market addressing oil production and distribution, exacerbated by the Russia-Ukraine war. And clearly the prices are rising, and all sorts of products touching and concerning energy, and you go also off the spin-offs with fertilizer and the like. We had to, in a sense, take, in cricketing terms, a fresh guard in light of these new circumstances. There's one obvious one with the supply of energy through the Petrocaribe arrangement, which is very favorable to several countries in the Caribbean, including, and especially so, the independent countries of the OECS, but other countries within CARICOM. As you are aware, the unilateral sanctions by the United States administration imposed during the time of President Donald J. Trump in relation to Venezuela brought, for all practical purposes, the Petrocaribe arrangement to an end. This arrangement delivered important financing benefits to countries participating. But the arrangement was brought to an end because the sanctions would have affected the actual shipping arrangements and the financialization behind this, the monetary system, the payment in dollars, and all the rest of it. And the circumstances are propitious for us to call, and we have in fact made a decision, and it's in the communique and you will see it, for an end to these sanctions in relation to which would touch and concern the Petro-Carib arrangement and more broadly. Look, after all, because of what is happening in Europe, we hear that the United States of America wants to give the Europeans a carve-out, a special carve-out in relation to these sanctions, unilateral as they are, in relation to energy products out of Venezuela. We see the Americans themselves are going down to Caracas on 2 occasions now to see if they can make arrangements to get additional energy products. Because what is happening, we all know, we read about it, we hear it on CNN, BBC, all the networks, and those who are in the know, that the sanctions made, in part, made the Russians make more money from energy to help them to fund in part the war. These are known facts. Well, you can't on the one hand looking for carve-outs for Europeans. You can't at the same time going to Venezuela looking for some special arrangement to get more oil. And then we are suffering. So it is only natural that we put this issue square on the table.
In conversation with Kimberly Ramkalawan during the Caribbean Connect talk show, the President of Guyana, His Excellency Irfin Ali, spoke about the commitment of the Caribbean leaders to adopt a time-based and clear approach to remove barriers. This in relation to the Food and Nutrition Initiative.
Well, we have made tremendous progress in terms of achieving a 25 by 2025 target. This is not only a political commitment. This is a commitment that includes the farmers, the private sector, young people, women. So what we have done is that we have developed an overarching strategy that incorporate all the players and stakeholders within the region and in individual societies, individual countries themselves. The private sector, women, youths, the farming community, university students in some cases. And we have outlined a strategy that is measurable, a strategy that has very specific targets. And in that strategy itself, it outlines the specific actions that are required by each state in achieving the 25 by 2025 plan. Since Guyana, the Agri-Investment Forum, we have had an Agri-Expo in Barbados. We have a continuation of that forum on the 19th to the 21st in Trinidad and Tobago. And what we have seen is tremendous commitment from the financing side in advancing the food security plan. An integral part of the plan is transportation and logistics. And at this meeting, we're seeing great movement in not only the infrastructure and the architecture to bring about the transportation plan and to action it, but also a commitment in advancing the work to get the financing and get this operational as quickly as possible. The third issue is barriers within the region itself. And there is a clear commitment from all the leaders that the time for discussing and talking about these barriers is over, and we are now working on a strategic, time-bound approach in the removal of these barriers.
The Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorary Mia Mottley, also visited the Caribbean Connect talk show, during which she explained why many Caribbean countries have not yet passed legislation to further integrate the Caribbean single market. This as there was a lack of clarity on the definitions of the various categorizations of workers. During this conference, this matter has been resolved, and the Prime Minister hopes to move forward in removing barriers and further implement the CSME.
With respect to the whole issue of the definition of those categories of workers. And I'm happy that we've finally settled on this issue, and that is one of the clear decisions coming out that will move the way for ordinary people in the Caribbean who want to work as domestics, who want to work as agricultural workers or security guards to benefit not just from a few countries that have implemented, but the rest of the countries that were waiting for the settled definition. We've also agreed that we need to move quickly on the issue of mutual recognition of companies and being able to ensure that if you form a company in one Caribbean territory, you're not under the obligation of having to form it in each territory. There's studies going on and there's work needed to be done to expedite the work of our corporate registries in this issue. And over the next few months, we hope that we can do that.
Dr. Carla Barnett, Secretary General of the CARICOM, was also a guest. She termed this conference as rather productive and listed the many developments and decisions that have been made that would lead to further action and implementation.
This meeting has really been quite productive as well. We had excellent discussions. We agreed in particular to things like streamlining how we treat with movement of persons in terms of the definitions of particular categories of persons. We agreed on a strategy for mobilizing, promoting climate finance access for the region, a strategy that's based on organizing our approach to the regional community and also strengthening the capacity at the national levels for implementing climate projects. So we've done a lot of good work. One of the more exciting things that we dealt with clearly was the intervention that we had from young people. The CARICOM Youth Ambassadors had a representative in the Dean of the Youth Ambassadors, who is a very bright, excellent young woman from Trinidad and Tobago, who spoke on behalf of the youth of the region following a discussion that the young people had at the CARICOM Youth Forum, which was held maybe about 2 weeks ago. So that was new for us. And there's a lot that we're going to be following up on because we really do believe that young people need to play a larger role in determining their own destiny. So there you go.
To all the delegates returning to their beautiful Caribbean countries at the end of the last day of the conference, we wish you a good trip. This was Good Morning Caribbean.
Network, your business channel.